Today, we are going to be answering questions from one of Zachary's recent seminars that he did for SCORE on the subject of Facebook and Instagram on today's Straight Shot Marketing Podcast.
Welcome to Straight Shot. Marketing is everywhere. It's around your life, from what you eat to what you wear and where you go. It is a vital part of any and all business. Let's discuss the world of marketing and business as it influences everyday life with the staff of Atlanta marketing agency Reformation Productions and guests as they give it to us straight. Get ready. Take aim. Steady. Welcome to Straight Shot.
Hello, straight shooters, and hello, Zachary.
Hi there.
It has been a little while since we have come out with a new Straight Shot, but we are in the middle of a social media series.
Yes, just like the rest of the country, we've been suffering from a staffing shortage as well. But hopefully we'll get it all kicked back up here again.
Well, the good news is that you have been able to keep your speaking schedule, so that's good.
Yeah, but they're still not online. It's all via Zoom, not in person. I want to go back to the days of in-person speaking engagements where I can mingle amongst the people.
Right. And for those of you that may not know, Zachary is an official partner to SCORE and does workshops and teaches seminars for SCORE and the SBDC, as well as other organizations and associations and chambers and things like that. Some of these are open to the public, like the ones from the SBA, and others you may have to be a member of the association to attend. But either way, you can find out more about his speaking schedule at bzacharybennett.com. And if you'd like to book him to conduct a workshop or teach a class about business and marketing to your company or group, you can find his booking information there as well. So, bzacharybennett.com. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's set the stage here. Zachary recently did a speaking engagement for SCORE on Facebook and Instagram for business. There were many questions during the seminar, which caused it to run over on time, but Zachary promised to answer all of these questions that were submitted, and so that is why we are here doing this today. Yeah. So I am going to read the questions, and Zachary, you are going to give me wonderful and insightful answers.
All right. Now, I want everybody to keep in mind, if you were not in the seminar, you may get lost when they ask about something that I said in the seminar. But I'll try to rephrase and reshape as we go along through the questions.
Exactly. And remember, you can always catch a seminar by going to bzacharybennett.com. Plug. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Question number 1. We're going to jump right into it. This is from Anna. Okay, Anna says, you mentioned that interactivity between the platforms, linking accounts, is not recommended anymore. Facebook, Insta is the obvious example. If you don't have the time or desire to customize interactions on both platforms, is it better then for a brand to just pick one? For us, it's Instagram, and ignore Facebook?
All right, so what she's talking about is something in the seminar where I discussed the fact that we used to link all the social media accounts together. So, for example, whatever you posted on Facebook was reposted to Twitter, was reposted to wherever, which is how we used to do it. But I told them in the seminar that's not recommended anymore. So that's the first half. Then she asks, is it okay to choose just one? And the answer to that is maybe.
Ugh.
It is best to choose whichever platform is going to be most valuable to you and your business by looking at the platform's audience and cross-referencing it with your own target audience, then choosing the one that lines up best. You can also do some testing on the platform so that you have some data that you can count on as to what is working and what is not working. Best practice would be to be on all of the platforms, of course. But that can be a lot of investment in time if you are trying to do it, or money if you're hiring someone else to do it. Just do the homework and be smart about it. It's the best advice that I can give you here. If the data tells you that you should be on multiple platforms, but you don't have time, Hire an expert to do it for you. The data is what should lead you in what you're going to do. Now, on the other side, you don't need to be stressing about being on a platform that isn't going to help your business. So you have to determine that up front. So that's by knowing your audience, knowing your target, and knowing which platform is going to line up best with your audience and your goals. Then, of course, in knowing how to use the platform as well. You have to know that also.
Okay, I've got another question here from Mark. Mr. Taylor says, someone in a workshop once mentioned something about measurement being an issue when you use Linktree. I can't quite remember all the details, but I never got the info. Maybe also had something to do with Google Analytics capture?
Just to back up a bit, we're talking about Instagram for those of you that weren't actually in the seminar. We're talking about Instagram and the fact that you can only put one link in your bio. And so people use Linktree in order to get multiple links in their bio. Okay, there are many alternatives to Linktree. There's Milkshake and there's LinkedIn.bio by Later. These are alternatives to that one program. But you can also make your own landing page that is unlinked to your website. Now, that just means that it's not part of your website's natural navigation. And that's the way that I recommend doing it, okay? So that you know how to make your own landing page, which is what I'm talking about, or having your agency do it for you. The things you need to include are a short bio, an image, of course, an email sign up. Now, this can be for them to get a newsletter or a freebie white paper or something like that. Your most important call to action, so whatever you are pushing, that's going to be your focus, right? A link to your website for all the services that you provide. Links to where people can find out more about you. So that may be a blog, a vlog, about us page, podcast, media articles, whatever it may be. And, of course, where else to follow you on social media. Doing it this way, building your own, will make it usable with Google Analytics, meaning that it's going to be trackable and that it's going to help with SEO. And there are other issues with these third-party alternatives. For example, TikTok no longer recognizes Linktree as a safe site. So people will get a warning if they go onto your Linktree. There'll automatically be a warning pop up that it's unsafe. That, of course, is negative. The free version of some of these third-party alternatives is limited in what you can do from a branding standpoint. And that's the case with a lot of freebie tools that are out there. Sure, you can have it for free, but it's going to market them instead of you, and that's not good. And then the last issue that I'll mention with these is that links can be banned. It's happened before, particularly with Linktree, where any link that came from a Linktree was banned. My best advice, again, build one yourself. It's good to have, don't get me wrong, because then you're kind of going around the fact that Zuckerberg will only let you have one link because you have a link to many links, which is great. But you don't have to use these freebie tools. You can make your own so that you don't have all of these, concerns coming off of it.
Okay. Another question that we got from Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Anonymous. Okay. How do you communicate the monetary value in someone setting up and establishing accounts as a small business for individuals who are artists, dancers, or small business owners? A lot of people want to focus on how many followers you have on a platform as what equals success in social media. Or for some formal establishments, your proven ability to measure.
Okay, so that sounds like you're asking, how do you sell social media? And of course, the answer to that is look at all that I shared during the presentation. Those are all the reasons and that people should be on social media. Now, for those of you that weren't in the presentation, look through this series that we're doing here on Straight Shot and the episodes to come, and you'll discover all of the reasons why people should be on social media. Now, those in the presentation, remember what I said about brand value being difficult to measure? That comes into play here as well. It's difficult to track, like we said, but it can be done. You just have to build a system of tracking and measurement over time that can show how a new initiative is going to impact sales. But awareness is even more difficult to measure, and it has value also. So let me give you a scenario. I'll tell you a story, if you will.
Story time.
I saw an ad on Facebook, for example. All right. It was something that I was scrolling and I saw it and I liked it. I considered it. I pondered on buying whatever the ad was for. I hemmed and I hawed. And then by the time I got around to deciding I wanted it, I couldn't remember the name of the company. Because a lot of people don't make decisions immediately, right? When they're going to buy stuff
all the time.
So then what you do is you go back scrolling through your Facebook feed trying to find it again. Okay, so you can scroll through. This is what I did. You scroll through your Facebook feed. You don't find it. You search the Facebook directory trying to find it by using Facebook like a search engine. And I couldn't find it that way. So then I Googled and found it. And then I went to their website to research it. I found a press release there on their website that I read. Then I saw a little more detail about it on Medium. After that bit of research, I went back to Google in order to try to find the best price. Okay. So then I ended up clicking on a link to Amazon and I bought it on Amazon after reading some of the reviews that were on Amazon for the product. All right. Mm-hmm. So in this scenario, in this synopsis, the story, Amazon would get credit on any report that you would be given for that sales transaction because it was the last place that I went to before the buying transaction was made. But wasn't it really Google that showed me the Amazon listing? Or maybe the company's website because that proved valuable during my research. Or maybe it was the Medium post that I read that really cemented the deal. Or maybe, just maybe, it was really Facebook because that's what perked my interest to begin with.
That's what brought your awareness.
Right. This is why click reporting, buy reporting doesn't show the full picture on how all of these aspects are credible for marketing your business. So we have to look at things from a holistic marketing approach. Okay. So in that vein, people do three things online. They surf, right? That means they're reading the Wall Street Journal, they're watching videos, they're going to CNN, and they're seeing banner ads and display ads or whatever that's going on those sites while they're doing it, okay? Then there's social. That's the second thing that they do. That's entertainment on TikTok or checking their Facebook status and talking with their friends, asking people things and engaging with other people on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. And then the third thing that they do is search for things that they want to know more about or purchase. So that's, search engines, Amazon, websites, Medium, YouTube. Being in and operating in all of these places is a well-rounded, holistic, optimal strategy. So if we know who your target is, number one, we already talked about that, and then we know the three things that people do on the internet, if you can be in all three of those places, you have an optimal strategy. Okay, because wherever they're going to be online, you're going to be. Now, social media is great and it's effective, but it's not the magic bullet. There is no magic bullet here. So you need to look at having an overall digital marketing mix where you're looking at earned, owned, and paid media. I'm sure I'll end up doing a completely separate episode on this, but basically don't think, social media magic bullet, go do that and think that you're set. There's a lot more to marketing on the internet than just social media. Social media is a piece of it. It's a big piece of it, but it's not the only thing.
Okay, so are we ready for the next one? The next question?
Surely.
Okay, surely. This question is from Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Hello, Anna. Welcome. She asks, if you post something educational about your product or talk about your experience with it, for example, and you tag your product in the store, is that a directly promotional post?
Okay, now what she is referring to here is what's called the 80-20 rule. And that rule states that you should be providing 80% valuable content for the user and then 20% promotional content. So the idea here is 80% should be valuable to the customer, not necessarily pushing your product. 20% is okay to push your product. So she's asking if, making informational content about your product is considered promotional or valuable content, which is a fair question. And the answer is maybe.
Maybe.
It depends on how you go about doing it. So just keep in mind that hitting people over the head with sales is not what social media is for. And marketing has changed. People won't stand for that sort of thing anymore. It will literally turn people against you, and you don't want that. So those of you that are Gen X or anywhere around Gen X, we remember seeing ads that were very direct, very straightforward, sell, buy my product. There was literally an ad that said, buy my product. So, but nowadays with the younger generation, the psychology of all this has changed. They won't stand for a straight ahead message. So you have to provide them value 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time you can remind them that you sell your product.
Okay. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully that made sense. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think it makes sense. I mean, I think it's a real temptation for us as business owners to just want to talk about how awesome our product is for everybody. And there's nothing inherently bad about that.
No,
but
you can talk about how wonderful your product is without trying to sell it. So, which is
click
kind
here,
of
buy now.
which is kind of what she's talking about, where you're talking about the whatever the problem is that your product is the solution to. Talk about that. But don't keep saying every 5 minutes, buy now, buy now, buy now, because people don't like that. But you can show the value of whatever your product is or whatever other things your audience may find valuable that has nothing to do with your product. That falls into the 80% as well. Because the idea is you are talking to and communicating with your target audience. That's where the value comes in for you.
I think that I've had experience in posting social media content for our clients.
Yep.
Where, let's say they sell hair care products.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's obviously there's a lot of content that you can post out there about beauty and about, taking care of yourself and stuff. But then, you directly want to talk about your products because that's what it is. But so how do you do that in a way that's not super salesy? And I think that, recognizing your fan base's needs is the first thing.
Right.
And a lot of us know that hair care products are what we need, but we don't really know which ones we need. We don't know what it really means if something is hemp infused, for example, or what does it mean to have, what's the difference between vitamin E and argan oil and whatever. So having these informational, educational posts about the products that you sell, and then perhaps, if you want more information, you can click this link, oops, that's sort of like a accidental, but very direct, sales pitch without people feeling like you're shoving it down their throat.
Right. So the like what she's referring to is there's a product that is made for hair care that treats a specific issue. So what we do is we talk about that specific issue and how would you fix it? Because that is valuable to people that have that specific issue. But we don't say, buy this, buy this, buy this. That's because again, that'll turn people off.
Because in reality, if you were sitting there, if you were sitting there talking to your customer, let's just play this out for the hair care example.
Sure.
If this person was sitting there talking to a potential customer, that customer is going to come up to you and say, I just don't know the difference between these two products because this one has this oil in it, this one has this oil in it, whatever. And then you as an educated business owner on these things would say, oh well, here, let me give you some education about these two things. And then normally in average normal conversation, that potential customer would say something like, well, then what do you recommend?
Right.
And so it would just be a natural course of action for you to say, yeah, honestly, of these two, I like this one. And if you want to know where to buy it, it's up there. It's over there. It's right here. And so I think, following this normal course of communication, even though it's ultimately one-sided in the social media post, you're informing the customer about some things they might be confused about, and then you're offering an alternative for those that might want suggestions of what they could do with that information.
Right, absolutely.
So I mean, that's kind of like a way for you to justify having an educational sort of product pushing post because you're just following a natural course of conversation.
Right. So that's about the 80-20 rule, which is the social media 80-20 rule. There is another 80-20 rule that this is not, but this is the one that refers to in social media.
Okay, the next question we have is...
moving on.
Mr. Anonymous, again, asks.
Is it the same Anonymous Mouse or his brother?
It's really, I cannot tell. It could be a sister. They're sexist. Anyway.
That would be Tsunami Mouse.
Really? Stop it. Anyways, stop it. Just stop it. The question is, can you tag people if they were a part of creation in the media by planning, production, etc.?
If you mention them, yes, you can tag them. If you don't mention them, then you shouldn't. What she's referring to here is the fact that Mount Zuckerberg, either side, Instagram, Facebook, will not let you, is against the rules rather, to tag somebody that's not in the post. So if you tag people that aren't in the post, or the ad is specifically, right, they can get bent out of shape, ban your post, etc. So the idea here is, can you post them if they were involved in the creation? Can you tag them if they were involved in the creation? Yes, if you mention them. So in your text, if you mention thanks to blah, 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 tag them. Sure, no problem. If you don't, then don't just tag them where it seems like it's out of the blue now.
Okay, next question.
Yes.
If I have people manage my account or post things for me, are there any tools that can be used, hopefully free or inexpensive, that allow people to do that without necessarily having my password to my Instagram or Facebook account? And I'm referring to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook in general, not just Facebook specific.
There are third-party apps, yes. But if you use those third-party apps, you are trusting the app. And I find it's better to trust the person, right? The person that you have hired. Now, most business accounts on these platforms are managed by agencies, and therefore most have some sort of multi-user login. The different platforms will offer things differently, and we'll talk about that more as we go through, talking about each one of these platforms in the series.
Can I just say something about that question as well?
Sure, that sounds iffy.
My comment, I guess it's not really my comment on that question is that I believe that person has the wrong focus as well. I mean, when you included the word free in your question, I mean, that kind of inherently shows a little bit of a problem, because why do Americans always want stuff for free or cheap? I understand being cost efficient and spending your money more wisely, but we do need to remember one fundamental cliche. You get what you pay for. I just think it says a lot about priorities. And you're not alone. I mean, we hear this type of thing a lot, but I just feel it needs to be called out every single time.
Well, to your point, free doesn't really mean free, and cheap doesn't mean efficient, right? Nothing comes for free. You've heard that before, another cliche, right? Nothing good comes for free. If it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you your own time and your own effort, or you're going to pay someone else to spend their time and their effort. Now, hopefully, they will have all of the skill and all of the experience and everything that's necessary. And that's where the not being cheap part comes in, because you get what you pay for. And this is true for anything, everything. Like they say, nothing comes for free.
I just love how we can teach an entire business course using nothing but cliches. I think it's great. You get what you pay for. Nothing comes for free.
Well, it is an issue in the business community.
I think it's in the whole world, actually.
And I spent quite a bit of time in my book
Married to Marketing,
talking about how to decide when you should DIY versus hiring an expert in your business, be it marketing or anything else, any other sort of expertise in your business. So there are times when you should do it yourselves, and then there's times when you shouldn't. But to your point, the unnatural draw towards free is not new. People got mad at Google when they first introduced AdWords because they were no longer able to, get their organic SEO for free anymore. People got mad at Facebook when they started to limit organic reach because they recognized that it had value and it was for free. And if it was for free, they weren't making any return on their investment while others were exploiting it. So I think it's human nature, but it's one that we should recognize and try to be better about, more understanding as to the why. And it all boils down to, if it's someone else's business, that means that they put in the training, research, experience, smarts, time, and effort into learning it or building it so that you didn't have to. So don't expect them to have done all of that for free. You are diminishing someone else's livelihood if you do that. But let's move on.
Yes. One last comment from me. I think it is a good rule of thumb is if something works well, people will find a way to monetize it. So if it costs money, it's usually because it works.
Truth.
And if it doesn't, it might not.
That's true too.
Or at least might not work as well. I don't know. That's not always the case, but that's just something to think about. Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on. Sorry. All right. Anyway, next question. When hiring an expert to manage small business social media marketing platforms, how much to budget and where to find and identify qualified managers?
Okay, so read that one more time because it was a little confusing.
Okay. When hiring an expert to manage small business social media marketing platforms, how much to budget and where to find and identify qualified managers?
How much should you budget? Okay. And how do you find qualified people to manage the account? Those are the two questions. All right. Number two, I guess first, marketing agencies like Reformation Productions are going to be your best bet. There are freelancers and people in India that do it as well, but the experience and the professionalism that you'll get from an agency is going to be much higher than you're going to get with a freelancer or somebody in India that doesn't necessarily speak your language. So the best place to go is actually going to an agency because they do it all the time and they're good at it, or they should be, right? If you select a good agency, they should be good at it. Now, as far as the cost goes, the cost is going to directly depend on how much they are going to be doing for you, right? Now, that's going to vary depending on the individual goals and needs of the company. It can be between $500 to several $1,000s, depending on what all they have to do, what all the goals for your company is, how big your company's reach is, things like that. So unfortunately, it's not like McDonald's where you can just, say it costs 99 cents. It doesn't work that way. But my advice when we start talking about budget is not to look at things piecemeal. We know from business school that companies should be investing between 15 and 25% of their annual revenue into business communications or marketing, right? This is just a small piece of that, right? Social media is just a small piece of that overall budget. And an agency will be able to tell you how to spend the whole of your budget, considering whatever the amount is that you have available. Now, we've talked about budget before. I believe we have an episode on budget, but you can also go to reformationpro.com/budget in order to find out more about how to determine what that budget should be. We have I don't remember what the episode was called. Do you?
What's your budget?
What's your budget? Budget.
Yep, maybe it was called What's Your Budget.
What's your budget?
But yeah, to dive more into the money aspect, you can watch that episode, or we have calculators literally at that website, reformationpro.com/budget.
Nice. Okay, we have another question here from Anna again. Let me read it here. Can you comment on the algorithm and how that drives views to your posts? For example, the WSJ articles on Facebook noted that the algorithm heavily rewards early engagement with specific markers, not just emojis or auto-populated one-word comments. So if you don't get immediate engagement with your post, it seems like you get a rapidly diminishing rate of return. Do strategies like posting more times per day or tagging or posting at busy times of day counteract that?
First off, the algorithm is not the same for every platform that you're on.
Unfortunately not.
Now, we're talking about Facebook and Instagram, and even those two have different algorithms. But the other important thing to remember is that the algorithm is constantly changing. So The best strategy that you're going to have, instead of just trying to play the algorithm, is to post valuable content on a frequent basis. Now, there are obvious things that help the algorithm. For instance, likes, comments, any interaction, tagging, reaching more people, etc. And the more your post is interacted with, the higher it's going to rank, the more it's going to be shown to others. So post valuable content, post often, and encourage interaction. The more interaction, yes, the better ranking you are going to get on most platforms. Now, one-word comments make the platforms think that you are trying to cheat, right? That you are trying to cheat it. And some, LinkedIn, can punish you for that. That sounds like what you may be talking about. So do the work. Again, you get what you pay for. Don't try to take shortcuts, because those shortcuts, they'll bite you.
Okay, next question. This is from Mark. Let me read it. Okay, Mark says, I honestly need assistance with doing these things on a small scale for individuals. Even in trying to get a job, it can be difficult to show the value in what I've done. Although I know my clients, employees, volunteer organizations, or whatever, are happy with what I've done. Could you help me with mentorship, advisement as a seed stage BIPOC business owner / freelancer? I truly need direction. And then he gives his LinkedIn address, which we will keep private and not broadcast.
Yes, it's a good idea. Yes, I offer one-on-one consultation in business coaching. Just go to bzacharybennett.com to schedule a time. Your being BIPOC or not really doesn't matter to me. And I try to stay away from the whole alphabet soup, decision-making stuff. I'm available to help all companies, all business owners, all business managers equally. So yes, reach out to me via the website. I don't care if you're purple. I believe all people have a right to build a great company if they put in the investment. Now, it's not easy. And as a consultant, I will tell you like it is, because that's part of my job, is to, be honest when honesty may hurt. But that's one of the reasons why a lot of people hire me, if they're surrounded by yes men and they want to know the hard truth. Now, I believe that you can do it. Anyone can do it. American dream, all of that. But you need to know the right way and then invest your time and your money in that direction. So, yay capitalism, be all that you can be. That should be the motto for capitalism and for business owners. Be all that you can be. But seriously, I am pro-capitalism. I love the business community. I've dedicated a good portion of my life to it. I do, low-cost seminars for organizations like SCORE. I don't get paid for those. That money goes to SCORE or the SBDC to put back into the business community as they see fit. I do have the podcast here, which is geared towards targeting the business community. I don't make any money off of it.
In fact, it might cost you a little bit of money
to
produce.
That's true. But then I also have the expertise and the one-on-one consultation services that I offer, where I make my living and feed my family. I love to see businesses succeed. Your success is my success. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me, bzacharybennett.com, or you can reach me through the agency at reformationproductions.com if you would like to do that. That's fine.
Or they can continue to send questions into the show here at straightshot.net.
Yep.
And we can tackle them together here. Speaking of that, next question. How do I get more followers?
Well, that's the trick, isn't it? Listen to and watch my content and follow my advice. There you go.
Really? Click like and subscribe.
But really, it's not about more followers. It's about quality followers. And it's going to take you some time to grow that. But aside from that, some practical ways to do well on social media. Make sure you are making people aware of your social media at every turn. So if you're a restaurant, Put your social media URLs on a table tent or on your door. You can put them on a counter display at your office if you're a doctor. If you're a retail shop, you can do a bag stuffer. There's lots of different ways to increase the awareness of your social media channels. That's one. Another would be to, of course, post valuable content on a regular basis. Use hashtags, niche hashtags, interact with other people on the platform, cross-promote with other platforms, engage with influencer strategies, run ads, go through all of the work that we've described in the seminar, and or hire somebody else that is an expert to do all of that stuff for you. But one thing I will say is, do not buy followers. There are no shortcuts, and you will get bit if you try to take the shortcut. Don't buy followers. Speaking
of, spending money wisely and trying to get stuff for free, there's things that you just shouldn't blow money on.
Yes.
Spend money where it's valuable. Next question.
Okay.
Should we use Instagram stories?
Without a doubt. It is very popular, and more people interact with stories than any other tool that Instagram, Facebook has.
Well, there you go. That's it. That's all of them. That's all the questions so far. Unless anybody has questions they'd like to send into the show. Wow. Anyways, that wraps up the leftover questions that you had from the SCORE seminar on using Facebook and Instagram for business. For those that didn't get a chance to go to the seminar, can they see it or attend?
You can sign up for notifications of when I'm going to be speaking again by texting me at my community text number, which is 678-336-7868, or you can sign up for the newsletter on any of the websites that I mentioned, bzacharybennett.com, reformationpro.com, straightshot.net. You can get the notifications that way. And there you go. Oh,
also something of note. If you were signed up for the newsletter or to receive text notifications about when we release new episodes, we've changed our notification service. You should have received a text message about it, but if you didn't, go ahead and text 678-336-7868 and follow the prompts to ensure that you are signed up and won't miss a thing.
Yep.
Sorry about that, but that life happens.
Yep, and that's how you find out when we drop new episodes for Straight Shot, any events that are going on. It's how you keep in touch with what we do here.
Yes. Sorry about the change, but we have to bob and weave, go with the flow.
Yep.
Handle change.
That was actually a legal change. There's something in the law that changed, therefore the service that we were using had to make a change, and therefore I made a change. So.
Changes. That is all for now, guys. Thank you for joining us. I hope you got some value out of today's content, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been Straight Shot.